Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R.Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on July 2nd, 2021 at approximately 6:07 a.m. PST. Well, today's starting off a little better than yesterday. Had an awful lot of time to think. Doesn't change my opinion about yesterday in the slightest. Whoops, didn't want to do that. But, trying to clear things out of the way. Back on track, we hope. Anyway, the one thing that I keep telling people, the message that I return to pass on, is that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, guaranteed, almost guaranteed, it is going to take generations to get things back on track. It took generations to get things where they are. Okay, but the starting point, it has to start somewhere. No matter what you do, no matter whatever you're trying. Now, people talk about the hard step being the first one. The first step is the easy one. Okay, and the reason I say that is watch a child when they start learning to walk. They struggle to stand up. Okay, they struggle to stand up, and then they take that first tentative step. The second step can be chalked up to losing balance, so they just try and stop themselves from falling over. The third step is usually the one where they go, okay, I'm going to try and walk forward, I'm going to deliberately try and move forward, or I'm going to deliberately move forward is more to the point. The same thing, I can take a look at the whole issue of the journey. Getting started took a lot of work, an awful lot of encouragement from a great number of people. Okay, got up and running, got into a reasonable rhythm, and then took a while we were doing that, while you were listening to that side of it, I'm watching the world continue to spiral. Okay, and there is no other way that I know of to put it. Okay, I keep watching the world continue to spiral. So, of course, it gets to certain points. Now, where we go from here is the important factor. Pick something that you're not content with in your own life. That is the critical starting point. Okay. From there, we start changing the world, one person at a time. Now, this is a monumental task, and it is not something that any one individual, myself included, can do on our own. It is something that is going to require everybody's continued assistance. Okay, to that end, I do hope that we get a thumbs up, that you like the video, and that you subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, when you hit that subscribe button, hit the alert bell on the right side of it to let you know when the newest videos come up. Now, since March 6th of 2021, I've managed to get a video out just about every day. Sometimes I'll get two. Okay. Now, the reason for that, it started out very simple. Show people how to get their life back in order. Okay, how to get in order for what they consider the better. Now, these are the exact same tools that I use myself. Okay, this is not just a question of, here's a theory, I've read somewhere that this works. This is an issue of, I've seen it work with my own eyes. Okay, with my own life. And the reality of it is that it does take persistence. Okay, in case you're wondering what I'm doing there, or in case you're joining me for the first time, I have a tendency of doing way too many things at the same time in many people's eyes. But 2 years ago when I had a stroke, it absolutely shut down my left side, so it wasn't working right. Thankfully today, it's only, 6 o'clock in the morning here, and it's only coming on 75 degrees. Not bad considering we've been in the middle of a heat wave for the longest time. But what I'm doing here is I've got this neat little tendency after the stroke. Okay, once I had the stroke and it shut everything down, my left arm was not working as well as I'd like. But as soon as I moved my coffee cup, and yes, 75 in the morning, at 6 o'clock, and we're drinking coffee. A lot of reasons for that, and none of them have to do with caffeine. It's a case of I don't like the flavor of the water here. I don't like the taste of chlorine. And the weak amount of coffee that I put in doesn't seem to have a lot of bearing on anything, except it manages to keep working my shoulder, which is the important factor. Now, why do I have a pencil in my left hand? Is because before the stroke, I used to be able to write with my left hand. Okay, and unfortunately, when I had the stroke, that pretty much got damaged, so I'm having to reteach myself. But, like I said, this is a question of working the muscle, and it's the same idea. Okay, working the physical muscle, it's the same idea as working the mental one. If you're used to focusing or to noticing, if you're used to noticing the negative things, it's just like a muscle. You've got, and this is almost more to me than it is to you, but I do hope you pay attention to it. I was talking to somebody yesterday in the middle of all this, and as they pointed out, the odds are it's not likely that I'm picking up everything, which means I'm filtering some of it out. And the fact that I'm empathic and not only feel what people go through, but feel what the planet itself goes through, the amount of pain that I'm picking up is absolutely mind-boggling. But as I've told you, I'm a firm believer that a good 90-95% of people out there are decent people trying to do decent things. Unfortunately, most people have been taught to look at the negative, to repost the negative, and I'm still trying to figure out the why. But this said, what I have to start really focusing on is the good things that people are doing. And that's the same in your case. But this is like training any muscle. Okay, I'm retraining the shoulder by working on doing things that are working. Okay. But it is going to require everybody's effort, everybody's work, regardless of what your station in life. You're all in exactly the same boat. You're starting right here, right now. Okay, doesn't matter how you got here, you are here. And it is right here, right now, in this specific moment in time. This is the only time you can affect any kind of change. You can talk about the way your life has been. Okay, you can talk about what you would like your life to look like, but the only time you can change anything is right now at this moment, which is why I'm going back to the basics, essentially. Now, I was working on a project yesterday. As a matter of fact, I should double check that before I do that. I was working on a project yesterday to make certain that I got something done, that I got something accomplished. Yes, I keep looking at other things. I've got a video, I've got a monitor up here and a monitor over here. Okay, that's just me. That's the way I've been doing things for as long as I can recall. Okay, and well, actually, that's not true. When I only had one monitor, I only focused on the one. Okay, but now from that side of it, okay, I'm gonna have to do something about that. Give us just half a minute here as soon as I figure out where the heck I am. Just give us half a second. The rear. Well, that worked. Not really. This is a live recording, meaning I don't go back and edit anything. That little hiccup, every now and again, I've got a neat little glitch. My throat seizes and it stops me from doing a lot of things, not the least of which is breathing. But, as I was trying to say, at least if I stayed on the right track, we have to start right where you are, right here, right now, no matter how you got here. How you got here dictates how you look at the world. Now, people for generations have been taught to look at the negative. They've been taught how to put people down, how to point out, what other people are doing wrong, and how to point the finger elsewhere so you don't take responsibility for your own life. Now, my outlook on life is, yes, I can chalk it up to the amount of negativity that I see. Okay, but there is a staggering amount of really positive things going on. Okay, a massive amount. There is a staggering amount of positive things. And the reality of it is this. If we do not, as a global community, start focusing on the positive things that are taking place, on the things that people are doing to help each other, if we don't start doing that, what's going to happen is the negative spiral, the downhill swing that society is going on right now, will end in only one thing. Okay, take a look at the empire, at the Roman Empire. Take a look at the way that Sodom and Gomorrah ended. Yes, I remember both of these, but then I remember past lives. I'm not expecting you to believe me. It doesn't really matter whether you do. What does matter is the fact that if we stay on the same path, focusing on the negative, reiterating all the negative stuff, what you're going to do, because of karmic law is real simple. Be true to yourself, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. If we continue down that road, down the road of pointing out all the negative, emphasizing what is going wrong with the world, then what we are actually doing is, by our direct actions, by your direct actions, we are pushing this world into a negative spiral that will end in a disaster. Okay, now, some people look at it and go, oh great, so we overthrow the government. Well, overthrowing the government is the densest idea possible. You want to see how bad that can get. Okay, just for those of you that way inclined. A society without a government will be a society in anarchy. And out of anarchy will come a new government. Okay, but there's a book out called Animal Farm. It was written back in the 60s, I think. It might have been written a little earlier. Look it up and read the thing cover to cover, and it shows you what happens. It does a great job of emphasizing what can go wrong when you do that. Is it guaranteed to go wrong? No, but history does have a tendency of doing the same thing over and over again, which is why we are back at this point of focusing so much on negativity. Okay, but we have to realize that same negativity has forced people, when it gets to extremes, has really encouraged people to find new ways of doing things that are a little less stressful. Personally, the message I'd like to get out to people is, let's stop the downhill spiral before it gets to that extreme level. Okay, there is no point in carrying it all the way into the negative loop, unless you're really into that sort of thing, at which point, if you like pain, here's an idea. No, I'm not going to say that. That'd be a bad idea. It is absolutely imperative that we start looking at the positive. Yeah, wouldn't you know it? I started working on this video today, right early in the morning. It's only been 20 minutes and it's already hot enough to start sweating. You didn't need to know that, but it gives you an idea what the temperature's like. Now, moving my coffee cup over here has gotten my shoulder and my gross coordination with my left hand working rather reasonably. Still having trouble with the writing, and that's okay. Now, for you, Pick one thing that you're not content with in your life. Doesn't matter what it is. It may be something as simple as, as clearing off the desk you're working on. Okay, which is why I keep puttering around and moving things. That and the fact I don't sit still well. Okay, oddly enough, the more comfortable I get with this, the more active I seem to become. At least unless I'm misreading something. Oh, that won't work. But pick one thing in your life you're not content with. Okay, and we can do this in a number of ways. You can look at the huge things. The huge things are going to take forever. I am not content with the way that my world is working, in as much as I am picking up so much. I've learned how to pick up so much of the negative side of things that it's really clouded my look on many of the positive things going on. This computer that I'm working on. Okay, now I'm not technologically savvy by any functional stretch. And I'd love to say I am, but I'd have to lie, so I'm not going to do that. But this one particular fact that you are able to actually see me talking on this computer, no matter how much I hiccup on it, the fact that it's built at all has brought the world closer together. Now, honestly, I would have rather seen it bring everybody closer together and then see people posting all over the place. So and so got married. So and so got, so and so had a child. Such and such a sports team won. They won whatever competition it was. I'm not a sports. I do not follow sports. I never developed it. Something to do with tearing a leg apart at 12 years. At 12 years old, it ruins your entire sports side of things. I would love to see that sort of thing on the front page, with people looking at it and going, hey, look at this thing to celebrate. Okay, now, we're coming out of, as a matter of fact, as far as I understand, coming out pretty quickly, of the last year and a half, 2 years of absolute horror in such phenomenal capacity with this whole COVID thing. Now, the reality of it is that with the whole COVID thing, okay, the fact of the matter is that it's kept everybody away. Everybody's had a lot of time to look at your own life and to go, am I happy? Now, I heard a lot of people going, I really want things to go back the way they were. I tell you, I am dead set against things going back the way they were. The amount of greed, debauchery, ignorance, fear that was being propagated across the world. Okay, and I cannot just chalk it up to the media. Okay, the major media, yes, they have their own agendas. Every single individual, every single entity in existence has its own agenda, yourself included. Okay, but the reality is you have a choice, and you can make that choice now. This is the only time you can make the choice. It's right here, right now. You can choose to continue doing things the way you were and have things go back to exactly what they were. Or you can choose to start focusing on posting the things that are decent, that make people laugh, that make people smile, without causing embarrassment to somebody else. Okay. I mean, I saw something, I was watching videos the other day that were showing different races. And one in particular struck me rather intriguingly. I watched a video where a lion protected a baby wildebeest. And I do mean that quite literally. Now, for those of you that don't know, the wildebeest is one of the lion's favorite foods. Okay. But in this particular case, this lion protected the wildebeest, even fighting off other lions. Okay. Now, if species that are absolutely at odds with each other are willing to protect each other, then is it not reasonable to presume that humans, regardless of your nationality, you're the same species? It is time to start supporting each other. It's time to start working on the here and now. How you got here is not the relevant concern. You're here now. You cannot alter that. Okay. what you went through in your childhood, what your parents went through, what your ancestors went through. You cannot change that. That has happened. Okay, what you can change is what you do with it. Now, are you going to focus on what you went through? Like I told one client of mine years ago, she was complaining the first 40 years of her life were absolutely miserable, which in all fairness they were. She spent them on the street. And like I told her, you can focus on the fact that your first 40 years were garbage. Absolutely you can. Or you can go, okay, the first 40 years of my life were garbage. Now I'm going to move forward. Yes, obviously my ear is bothering me and I'm going to have to get this mess cut. Okay, obviously your ears are, that worked out well. Obviously, you can focus on the negative things that have happened to you and your ancestors, or you in society. I could get really caught up, as a matter of fact, I have gotten really caught up, in how negative issue did lead to the collapse of the Roman Empire, to the burning of Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, it led to the collapse of the entire European society when the Great Flood hit, when the Black Death hit. You can focus on the horrors of war. You can focus on the terrible things that have happened, or you can go, okay, here's where I am right now. Now, I'm no longer content with the way my life is working. So what can I do to alter it? Well, I will tell you. To start with, there is a video, one of the videos about a month ago, I think. And as it turns out, I do believe I didn't actually title it Feng Shui. But if you read the description below the video, it'll tell you that's what it was. Okay, or you can possibly, and I don't know how you do this, maybe you can search it up. Matter of fact, quite frankly, if you type in Feng Shui into the search bar on YouTube, I suspect it may come up somewhere in there. I don't really know. Like I said, I'm not exactly technologically savvy. But what I do know is that you can focus on the negative or you can focus on the positive. Now, do I want to see the world go back to the way it was, as in all that negativity being propagated? Not even functionally remotely. Do I look forward to people being able to see a smile on each other's face? You bet. That is the only gift I know of that is absolutely in no cost to make, outside from a little bit of energy and a little bit of muscle work. It's the one gift that does not cost a nickel to make. Okay, that you can give to everybody. Virtually nobody complains when you give them a smile. Some do, which is really weird, but some do. It's also the only gift that when you give it back to somebody, people don't tend to complain. So, as we get to the point of being able to remove the mask, okay, people will again be able to see each other smile. Now, this to me is priceless. Okay, and that is what I would like to see people starting to do again. Okay, I'm personally not interested in seeing a whole pile of negativity continue. It's time for that to end. It's time for the religious leaders, for the spiritual guides to stand up and unite and realize that no matter what you call your guy, your creator, no matter what you believe is how you got here, you're all here now. Everybody is born, everybody dies. Everybody, if you do not eat, you will starve to death. If you do not drink, you will die of thirst. Okay, the common denominator there is you will die. Okay, it doesn't matter how much money you've got. If you don't eat, if you don't breathe, if you don't drink, you will die. And you can go, oh, I've got more money than everybody else, therefore it won't affect me. Or I'm a better color than somebody else, therefore that problem isn't mine. News for you. The fires that happen, and unfortunately we're likely to run into a lot of them, They don't care who you worship. They don't care who you vote for. They don't care what your bank account looks like. Okay, you're all worth the same thing. Let's go back to that funny little issue here. 4 words to put on your fridge today, right now. I am worth it. Every single living entity is worth it. Now understand, I should clarify that. That's every single existing thing is of equal value. You are all worth it. But it is going to require all of our effort to make this world work. Now, you were given freedom of choice. Everybody says, I've got my rights. Well, you do. But that big right that you have to look at is, are you treating people in a way that you would like to be treated yourself? Okay, it's your right to do what you will. Okay, but with that in mind, with that whole thing in mind, it's your right to do what you choose, okay, in order to deal with it. You do have the right to choose, but it's up to you. Are you going to choose to continue doing things in the negative fashion, pointing out all the things that are wrong with the world, or are you going to choose to focus on the positive things? Now, in my eyes, one of the most positive things that I can focus on right now, at this specific moment, is to straighten the energy out, and it has to start right where you are, wherever you are right now. Actually, well, yeah, you really do. You have a choice again. Now, right now, I'm sitting in front of the computer. I can choose to start straightening out the energy in my house right here, right where I am right now, or I can get up and walk across the room and take a look at that shelf behind me that's got the black binders on it, and I can choose to start over there. But I will be over there, at which point I will be, again, right here, right now. That's the only place that you can start. Okay, how you got to where you are doesn't matter, but it's your choice. And I'm going to put it to you this way, and because I leave these to the half-hour mark, okay, if you'd like to, let's try English, shall we? I'd love to hear from you. If you've got comments, drop me a line below. There's a whole list of ways of getting in touch with me listed below the video. So drop me a line there if you've got questions in any field, or if you'd like to make a comment about the videos I'm doing. Absolutely, drop me a line. I will do my best to acknowledge them, to answer them. Okay, but I am going to, the reality is, I've got to get started here. Okay, and I encourage you to do the same thing. Now, you have a choice. Okay, you can choose conflict, or you can choose peace. I choose peace. With that in mind, I will be back tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.